salt during spring break and the signs to look for.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text us at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. President Trump says there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. NPR's Frank Ordonez reports Trump plans to play a role in accepting the next leader in Iran.
President Trump has predicted fighting will continue for the next 4 to 5 weeks. He's repeatedly said that Iran has wanted to reach a deal, but this morning he wrote on social media that he'll accept no deal except, quote, unconditional surrender. He continued that after an acceptable leader is chosen, the U.S. will work with partners to bring Iran back and rebuild its economy. He closed by writing, Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. Adding in parentheses, MIGA, MIGA. Clearly a play on MAGA. The Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in the initial airstrikes in Tehran on Saturday. His replacement has yet to be chosen. Franco Ordonez, NPR News.
The U.S. economy lost jobs in February. The Labor Department says employers shed 92,000 jobs during the month. NPR's Scott Horsley says the numbers are much weaker than expected.
Job losses were widespread, with factories, construction companies, and the federal government all shedding workers. Even healthcare, which has been a source of strength in the job market, lost jobs in February, partly as a result of a nurses' strike. Job gains for December and January were also revised downward, with December now showing a net loss of jobs. The unemployment rate inched up last month to 4.4%. Policymakers had hoped the job market was stabilizing after anemic hiring in 2025, but February's job loss suggests continued weakness. Average wages for those who are working continue to climb, with hourly wages up 3.8% in February from a year ago. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
And we see the Dow is down 557 points, or more than 1%. The Department of Homeland Security is preparing for new leadership in a matter of weeks following months of public upheaval over immigration enforcement tactics the DHS carried out. President Trump fired Secretary Kristi Noem after lawmakers questioned her spending on ads that promoted her. He named Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin as a replacement. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, where Minneapolis became a flashpoint of the nationwide clashes over immigration enforcement, told NPR how she plans to vote at Mullin's confirmation hearing.
I do not plan to vote for him because of the present policies and things that Markwayne Mullin has said about these ICE agents in my state. On the other hand, at this point, anything is an improvement. He's someone that has worked with other members of the Senate. He's someone who has run a business.
That's Senator Klobuchar speaking with NPR. The Dow is down more than 1%, or 553 points. From Washington, this is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. Strong storms are possible this weekend as a weather system moves into the area. Some rain is possible later this evening, but the chances of severe weather increase tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a full report coming up. Houston's Solid Waste Department has postponed a major change to its heavy trash program. To alleviate chronic service delays, the city planned to move from a regular schedule to an on-demand program. Now, as News 88.7's Dominic Anthony Walsh reports, the delay comes as the city's 311 center saw a spike in service requests.
Under the on-demand program, each household would be able to request heavy trash service up to 4 times a year. Councilmember Amy Peck supports the shift, given the chronic problems with the monthly service model.
Can't get much worse than it is now, so let's try some things out and see if we can get better services for our residents.
The shift was set to take place this week, but a solid waste spokesperson tells us it's delayed and did not answer questions about a new timeline. Over the past 4 weeks, the city's 311 center reported more than 2,600 service requests for missed heavy trash pickup, up from about 1,200 over the same time period last year. I'm Dominic Anthony Walsh, News 88.7.
Taking a look at sports, the Rockets drop one in overtime to the Golden State Warriors last night, 115-113. Houston welcomes in the Portland Trail Blazers downtown at 7 p.m. In spring training, the Astros blanked by Miami 2-0 on Thursday. They tee it up with the Nationals from West Palm Beach at 12:15. Your check of weather, mostly cloudy and windy with a chance of showers this afternoon, a high of 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy and windy, a low of 71 with gusty winds. Windy, showers, and thunderstorms on Saturday with a high of 83. Right now, it is 78 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, investing in creative thinkers and problem solvers who help people, communities, and the planet flourish. More information is available at hewlett.org.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Happy Friday.
Hello, Houston. Hello,
Back
Friday.
we're back in studio.
We are, after being at the rodeo yesterday.
That was fun.
We took the show out on the road.
Yep.
We're going to do it again next week.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Wednesday, we're going back to the rodeo, but if you missed it, check on YouTube. You guys, I was over in Gold Buckle Land over there doing judging of food, and you guys got the little lamb, the little...
Oh, Tuesday.
Well, let's not be obtuse. It's food.
Tuesday.
Don't stop that.
Well, part of the understanding the ag ventures is how the farm gets to the table.
Frank is right. And I did not understand that.
Oh.
And so I was like, talk to us about how old Little Tuesday
I know
is
you were
go.
looking for Mary.
I was like, and Frank was like, kind of like, oh, I don't think she gets it. And then
you don't call them lamb chops for nothing.
It was it was
puppet, right? Lamb
but it was
chop.
very interesting. The rodeo, it's definitely a special season for Houstonians and for everybody around, So.
Yeah. It's huge. And what? We're only a few years away from the 100th anniversary of it.
That's
crazy.
2032. And what will they do then?
And when we say they, the people that put on the rodeo truly work so hard and diligently to make this happen. And
there's the huge
real
grouping of volunteers, thousands and thousands and thousands of volunteers. But the upper admin, they work year-round. This is their full-time job,
sure.
and this is a big undertaking.
Just booking the acts.
They
what
start
are there,
that
like
long in
22
advance.
different acts or something?
Yeah.
And these people are popular. They book out well in advance. You have to negotiate with them. You have to find the right day, the right, everything. It's
There's a lot.
We
it's
did
a lot
something.
to it.
Maybe we'll have someone on the show this coming time to talk about this. That the fascinating thing is they want acts that aren't touring. So not only is it getting them to come and be there, they've got to make sure that these folks can pull together their band, their organization to come for a one-off in a shortened show version because they don't do a full concert 2-hour show.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of, and then you've got to get those, and they've all got to be important hot acts. So to get them all to agree to come to us, it is a logistical nightmare pulling all that together. And they do it successfully year after year.
Year after year.
Yeah. Amazing work.
And it's always, as good as the food always is, there's always something new.
Yeah,
Oh,
they keep it
Oh, we
fresh.
tried some new flavors. We'll take a look at those next week on the
It's
show.
interesting,
Whew.
right? Finding that balance between when you go to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, you expect certain things. There are
Yep.
staples that you want, so you have to keep with the tradition.
Right.
But then you also always want a little something different, or else it kind of feels stale. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like the World's Fair. And I'm thinking of the Alabama World's Fair that I grew up with.
Okay, I was like, I've never been.
I haven't
Well,
been to the World's Fair either, Frank.
what
Do
it was
they
a
still
state.
do
I'm sorry, it
those?
wasn't the World's. It was a state. I did go to
Okay.
the World's Fair in New Orleans. I remember
Yeah.
that. But the state fair every year.
Right.
It's like it's
Yeah.
the same kind of thing every time, and the same games and
Okay.
all of that.
Talking about food, though, at rodeo, what is it when rodeo's here and you want to go? What's the one thing it makes it complete for you that you get? Like for me, there's two.
Okay.
Deep fried Oreos. I don't want them any other time of the year, but when rodeo's in town, I want to find the right place for the right one. And one vendor every year does a frozen cheesecake on a stick that they dip in chocolate and then in nuts. And it is the most sinful, wonderful thing. And I get it every year. I didn't get it yesterday, so I'll have to get it next week when we're down there.
Interesting. I'm not the sweet guy. I like yesterday, the brisket biscuit. Delicious. So and remember when the Trill burgers came out, were so popular. Yes. So I like a burger or a brisket or a barbecue.
But there's not something that you only get at Rodeo every year.
No.
You know, this is going to be the most anticlimactic food. I love a funnel cake.
Oh, that's not anticlimactic.
A
good one?
A good classic funnel cake.
I love them. I've never been sicker. That oil they're cooked in went right through me.
It is, yeah. No, but I will say yesterday the food highlight for me was the bacon jam beignet. Did y'all try that?
Yeah.
That was phenomenal, and I believe it was from Russo's Concessions.
They did the brisket biscuit too.
And last year they had the bacon wrapped cotton candy.
Oh wow!
That's now on the menu this year that we tried last year, but the bacon jam beignet was wow. I mean, no, that did hurt my tummy afterwards. I was like, okay, that was very rich.
If your tummy doesn't hurt, you didn't eat right. That's how I look at it. A rodeo or a carnival or any of that, you got to have a little of that. Oh, why did I do that? But anyway, we'll do a whole lot more rodeo next week on the show. We've still got a full show of us for today. We've got some serious, we've got some light, we've got some eye-opening stories. But first, how's that weather doing out there?
It's going to get a little rainy tomorrow and Sunday. May see a shower as we move into today. It's possible. Mm-hmm. But it looks to me like the showers coming through may have a thunderstorm or two. So keep an eye to the sky. It doesn't look like a whole big outbreak of severe weather over the weekend.
Okay, and I've got a very difficult question for you now, considering it's this weekend.
Yeah.
What time do we expect these storms? Who knows, because the time's changing.
Well, there's a 2 or 3 part question right there.
Okay, take it away.
No, I mean, I think the showers tomorrow are probably best in the evening. Or late afternoon and early evening, and again on Sunday in the afternoon. As far as the time change, yes, that happens depending on when you change your clocks, right? But officially it's early Sunday morning, 2 in the morning.
And we're losing an hour.
We're losing an hour of sleep because we go forward, spring forward, fall back.
So at 2 a.m. it becomes 3 a.m.
Correct. And so if you were going to get up...
I can't afford to lose another hour.
I was going to say, that is every parent right now is just like rolling, like, of course. Here we go.
You know what? I like it because the traffic in the evening just drives me crazy. But when it's light until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, the traffic seems to flow better around here than when it gets dark at 5.
Right.
And so I like it better for that.
To give you too much of a hint into what my life was like as a young man, I used to always say nothing good happens till the sun goes down.
Oh,
and so I loved it when it got dark earlier because then I got to start enjoying my evening.
Sounds like a vacant promise.
Before we head into the headlines, I also want to mention we are going to be doing some of our current obsessions that we weren't able to get to yesterday. So we'll have some current obsessions in the second hour as well as last minute plans.
Yeah, we were out at the rodeo and people kept putting in their current obsessions, but we were doing something else yesterday. So we're going to do a make good today.
Okay.
Yeah. So start sending those in. Start posting them. Remember, 713-440-8870. You can text them there or email them talk@hellohouston.org. Celeste, it's headlines time.
President Trump says Noem. Here we go. President Donald Trump has fired Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and says he plans to nominate Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin to replace her. Trump says Noem will instead serve as a special envoy for what he calls the Shield of the Americas, a new regional security initiative expected to announce this weekend in Florida. If Mullin is formally nominated, he would still need confirmation from the U.S. Senate before taking the job permanently. Kristi Noem is the first cabinet-level departure of President Trump's second term. She had been a central figure in the administration's immigration policy, including efforts to expand deportations and promote voluntary self-deportation. What do you make of the move, and what questions do you have about the administration's immigration strategy going forward? Give us a call, 713-440-8870. You can also text that same line.
Well, the optics on her were awful.
Did you guys watch the hearings this week?
Yes, and her husband
was just...
Her husband's right behind her, sitting right behind her, and she's asked about her affair with Corey Lewandowski, and she can't say no.
Yeah, she said a lot.
She said a lot. This is insane. This is an attack. This is against women. But she didn't say, no, I'm not having an affair with Corey Lewandowski. She just didn't say that, which, poor guy sitting right behind her. But look, okay, that's between them. What's between us is the money that she wanted to spend on these private jets.
The money she had spent on other things.
$250 million.
There was $220 million for consultation on promoting ads of her work in the it was like, what is going on?
Which smacked of 2028 presidential run.
Yeah.
All this glamorama. And then it's been said, I didn't even think of this. All of those ads she put on TV about self-deportation were in English.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So who were they really for? They were for the Fox crowd that wanted to hear all of that.
Or as they often say, an audience of one.
The audience of MAGA that
but
wanted
the audience
to hear
of one
that.
turned on it.
Right. And, looking at, just to your point, Frank, when you look at messaging like that, Governor Abbott, whenever he said he was going to crack down on immigration, he put billboards up in Mexico in Spanish saying, hey, this is what will happen. So clearly there were two different messaging. Kristi Noem had one that she wanted to show that where her alignment was versus truly thinking about policy.
And when people were shot in Minneapolis, and I'm not placing blame, I'm just saying she immediately called the victims domestic terrorists. I mean, she didn't take a second to blame the victims.
And I think that's a very interesting point, because when you look at something like that, immediately after that, you would have thought, oh, that's what, did her in. But instead, it's looking like it was the money she was spending versus what was actually happening under her watch based on the policy that she's supposed to be ensuring.
713-440-8870. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah. The thing that I thought was surprising was we have seen rather contentious Senate hearings and congressional hearings in the last few years. That doesn't seem to be anything new now. Those are becoming the norm. But when the party you are a, water bearer for is also lambasting you during the hearings, something's bad. And she was getting it from both sides, and it was not pretty.
Yeah, and she was on stage speaking when she more or less found out right before she went on stage.
I haven't watched the clip. It's all over YouTube, and it says the moment when Kristi Noem finds out she was fired, and I haven't gone and watched it yet.
But then quickly given a brownie for her work, and so we're going to put you on this special committee to go against all these cartels. So she's going to be on this new special thing that Trump has created.
We'll see. I often think they create a new position, move him over there, put him away, quiet him down, send him to a farm upstate.
Wow.
The old expression.
Well, Kristi Noem is out, and then we're looking at, okay, well, then who is Oklahoma Senator Mark-Wayne Mullen?
I know.
There's another old
talk about a hothead.
Moving on, this move is putting a Trump ally in line to lead one of the federal government's largest agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you start to think,
hey, you want to take this outside? You want to take this outside?
Well, he didn't even find out until he heard about it, getting a news clip on his phone that he'd been appointed.
Right. And again, the Oklahoma Senator Mark-Wayne Mullen, who we are discussing, will still need Senate confirmation. Yep. But it really does raise questions as to how is the administration going to shape, how is this person going to shape immigration and border policy moving forward? Is anything going to be different? What's going to be different?
Before we even get into all that, just the fact that we went almost or a little over a full year without firing a cabinet member. Remember in the first administration, it was all the time. Turnover. So I thought we were seeing some good discipline in that regard, but here we go. Gates are open there. One of our YouTubers wrote in and said hundreds of millions of taxpayer money for her to put on her cowgirl costume for ads that no one needed to see.
Isn't she the one that killed her dogs, shot her dogs?
Yes.
I mean, that right
Poor
there.
Cricket.
No, that right there.
Wait,
and I know there were reasons
shot
that
their
she
dog?
had, but
Kristi Noem.
if you kill a dog, she killed her dogs, took them out in the field and shot them.
14-month, 18-month-old dog.
I mean, anybody that kills a dog.
I did not know that. But, you have to look ahead. And when we look at, again, Mark Wayne,
yeah,
he has
that's an
very
interesting
limited
case.
direct Homeland Security experience. So politics aside, let's just look at the role that he's stepping into. Now, he has served on several different Senate committees, but he does not come from a traditional Homeland Security or intelligence leadership background, which I think is going to become the focus during his confirmation hearing. And it's going to be very hard,
we'll see.
to formally get nominated. Based
I think
on
if
the
Trump
limited...
wants him, Trump gets him.
Yeah, I think he
I
still
just
has
haven't
that
seen anything else.
stronghold. Yeah.
I'd
I
be
think
surprised.
also people are just happy for a change there. And so moving in the right direction, I think they're going to think. There'll probably be some backlash and some push. There always is. But for the most part, he gets the cabinet people he wants. So
Well, and we'll see what happens with this guy. He is a hothead. And he doesn't. I don't think he knows what he's getting into. I don't think Christine Noem knew what she was getting into.
I'm not sure. I think that looking at President Trump's second term, I think when we look at his strategy, the president knew after his first term, he had some time away, exactly what he wanted to be doing this term, and it's obvious.
Project 25.
What everybody surrounding him, though, this time, the difference is they don't know what they're getting into.
Braden commented in the YouTube group, "Justice for Cricket." Cricket's Kristi Noem's dog. So we'll just...
Cricket was Kristi Noem's dog.
I mean, if you've named a pet, that's why they say don't name your lamb at the rodeo.
Oh, yeah. Let's get out. It's where we started, and somehow we got back there. I don't know how you two do that.
Afterwards, last night I was thinking about it, and I just kept thinking, Frank knew the whole time as I'm sitting here thinking, talk to us about the lifespan. How is Tuesday going to carry
You
forward?
acted like he was up for
very
adoption. She was
delicate.
not up for adoption.
No, she was not.
Okay.
But she might become a
And this is
breeder,
very-
breeder type.
And that's what they mentioned.
animal.
But even then, I have a bit of an issue with her being 2 years old. And,
Yeah.
Well, on to other bits of justice and what is fair. Poor Britney Spears.
Oh, my
Are you following
God.
this?
Can't catch a break.
Arrested for suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs near her home, but she was released. So there's a troubled.
Poor Britney.
She wasn't released scot-free.
Listen,
I'm
no,
sure
she was
tickled.
released.
I
She's
have
not
to
still
tell
in
you,
custody.
as somebody that grew up during Britney's golden years, I mean,
Oops, did you do it again?
it is. God bless Britney. That's all I have to say.
When I heard that she was arrested, this is going to sound horrible to say, I'm just happy it was for DUI, because we've seen so much behave and her dancing with her knives and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I mean, not that it's right to be driving under the influence.
As I mentioned, as somebody who grew up with her really, really when she was at the peak, now as an adult, I look back on what she went through and had to endure with the media. And you see some of those interviews that she did and the way she was questioned and treated.
Yeah.
I have zero judgment for Britney Spears because she went through it.
We did get a comment. Her blood alcohol level was toxic.
Well, she was taken to a hospital.
She was. Also, we do have a horrible habit in this culture, and we do it all the time as we build up these folks so we can tear them back down again. And Britney definitely went through that.
No one tore her down but herself.
But it is so easy to lay blame when you forget the amount of attention this young girl. They become so famous so fast. I don't remember who it was. Was it? Oh my God, it was some performer who I was talking to from the golden age. And what he said was, when we came up, we worked for years to get fame. We got it in increments. We learned how to handle it. We worked our way through it, and we had a team around us to mitigate it. In today's day and age, a moment, a song, something can catapult you to global superstardom with no preparation for what that means. Intense attention on your life, 1 million people around you telling you everything you do is perfect and wonderful, and no naysayers because everyone's there for their hand in the pot. It corrupts people's understanding of the world.
I read Britney Spears' autobiography. I read it, and what I realized was we think so many of these young, talented singers, pop stars, whatever you want to call it, have some kind of family support. And she really had none.
Right.
And she was thrown out there, and there was nobody there to kind of say, hey, listen. Instead, her family was like, yeah, go work for us so that we can continue to enjoy
That's sad.
the fruits of your labors. It is sad.
Well, let me remind you, Judy Garland, Montgomery Clift, Marilyn Monroe, they all ended up on drugs.
Right. And they came out of Studio System 7. The studio pushed them that way.
I mean, I don't think you could say this or that about it's all of them.
I mean, Frank, how do you live with that fame?
Yeah, no.
Coming
Kevin
up
keeps me in
on
check.
Hello Houston, we'll discuss an Air Alliance Houston study on large-scale air pollution events. This is News 88.7.
Meet Tio Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
And they are ordinary moments that become extraordinary. That's next time on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
That is tomorrow at noon, followed by the best of Hello Houston at 1 on News 88.7. On a related note, Houston Public Media is presenting another Moth Story Slam this Tuesday, March 10th at Lambert Hall. Doors open at 7 o'clock, and the theme of the night is Fumbles and Fouls. Stories about a moment you dropped the ball. Tickets at houstonpublicmedia.org/themoth.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, as the campaign in Iran enters its second week, what lies ahead for Iran and for America? Can the U.S. now succeed at regime change where we've failed so dismally in the past? I'll talk with two of our most experienced reporters in the Middle East, Robin Wright and Dexter Filkins. That's all next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour.
That's Sunday morning at 9, followed by Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me at 10 on News 88.7.
Claressa Shields is the most decorated female boxer ever, but for her to rise to the top, she'd have to face her biggest opponent yet, her past.
You have to go through things. You have to go through adversity to see what you're really about.
She'll walk us through her journey to the historic 2012 Olympics to learn what it really takes to become a champion. Join me, David Green, for WHYY's Sports in America.
That's Sunday afternoon at 5 on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro. Introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare System replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for bus and rail fares. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system.
And now back to Hello Houston. To share your thoughts on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
A new report from the nonprofit Air Alliance Houston examined 8 years of industrial pollution incidents caused by accidents, explosions, severe weather events, facility maintenance, and other events that resulted in significant amounts of unauthorized emissions. Using data from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the group found that facilities in Harris County reported over 1,700 such events between 2017 and 2024, releasing more than 49 million pounds of pollutants into the air. To tell us about the study, we welcome Dr. Inyang Uwak, Research and Policy Director at Air Alliance Houston. Dr. Uwak, welcome to Hello Houston.
Hello there. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, good morning. This is quite a bit of pounds of pollutants in the air, and I want to talk about it broadly, but I am interested to know what severe weather events have released air pollution?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So extreme weather events like hurricanes, winter storms can cause facilities to emit large amounts of emission. And this could happen in a number of ways. When there are power outages, right, then the facility has to shut down or go through what we call a startup shutdown procedure. And all this could emit significant amounts of pollution. From our report, or in our report, some of the highest levels of pollution were during extreme weather events. For example, in 2017, we had Hurricane Harvey, and there were 2 incidents that caused a large amount of, or 2 emission events that caused large amounts of pollution to be expelled into the air. right? Then again, Winter Storm Uri, there were reports of several tons of emissions from certain facilities during this event. And this usually happens as well, when facilities are ill prepared for these extreme weather events. And that brings me to regulations, right? Because there are regulations put in place or rulings that have been put in place to ensure that facilities that use, produce, manufacture some of these hazardous pollutants have a risk management plan set in place to protect people that live around those facilities and protect their workers as well from emissions or from accidents, and when these accidents happen, that they're prepared and they have a plan set in place to prevent significant casualty and prepare for these events when they do occur.
Right. And so, Dr. Uwak, excuse me. I mean, as Frank mentioned, that's a huge number, 1,700 pollution incidents, 49 million pounds of emissions. So for our listeners, what does that number really mean for people living in Harris County?
So that number really, I would like to preface by saying out of all those amounts of pollution that we found using the TCQ's database, we were able to identify five incidents that were responsible for over half of the total amount of pollution released, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not all facilities, were the top 5 facilities that drove this incident, right? Mm-hmm. And those top facilities, when we dug in to find out what caused these facilities to emit this amount of pollution, the reasons range from, not being prepared for extreme weather events. Like I mentioned, 3 of those events were associated with an extreme weather event, mm-hmm. right? And 2 were not. The other 2 that were not were the ITC fire, which was also preventable, right? When you looked at the chemical board's report following the fire, investigation following that fire. And the other one, I believe, was the Shell Deer Park Chemicals fire in 23. So, what does this mean to community living around this facility? It means, being extra vigilant, and in the part of the facilities, being ensuring that they have a strong risk management program in place to protect communities that live around these facilities from the impacts of these exposures.
So is the point to highlight these so people are aware they happen? Is it to get regulation so that we can limit them from happening? What do you want to come from it?
I would say both. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, this report was inspired by a need to draw attention to industrial emission events, the high frequency and the vast amount of pollution that are being released into the air, but also bring us to the fact that, there are regulations that are put in place, and our regulators ought to strengthen these regulations. And I'll give you the key one I've been talking about is the risk management program rule. This rule was strengthened in 2024 by the US EPA, and the risk management plan really identifies potential events of a chemical accident. It identifies steps the facility is taking to prevent an accident and spells out emergency response procedures should such an accident occur. And ultimately, I was going to say that in 2024, as I said earlier, this rule was strengthened and the name was changed to the RMP Safer Communities by Chemical Accident Prevention Final Rule to emphasize, in my opinion, the need to protect communities that surround these facilities. But last month, the US EPA announced a rollback for that rule. Mm-hmm. And essentially, this weakens it by the new proposed rule that want to replace this previous rule, weakens it by removing some protections, and that would have protected first responders, workers, fence-line communities from impacts from emission events such as the ones we highlighted in our study.
Dr. Uwak, I'd like to go back to Celeste's question. Of this 49 million pounds of pollutants over this 8-year period, what percentage is that of the total pounds of pollutants? I mean, that's not half of it. It's, I don't know, 5% of all the pollutants that were put out there? Or do you know? I mean, 49 million pounds sounds like a heck of a lot, but I don't know how to reference that in terms of how much was actually released.
To clarify, that amount was over 8 years. It's an 8-year period. Right. And the reason we looked at, so we didn't compare it with the total amount of emissions that happened in those 8 years. We focused on the facilities that reported this emission events in those 8 years, right? So we didn't compare it to everything in total. That would be a good, maybe that would be a part two.
That'll be part two of it.
Our report. But based off of what we gathered from the TCQ's emission inventory database, right, we were looking specifically for what between those 8 years, which facility had the highest emissions and why, the types of pollutant that were emitted, and explore strategies and recommendations for improvement so this doesn't occur in the future.
And I hate to belabor this point, but I'm going to stick with this for 1 second more just to try and understand, because as I think both what Frank and Celeste are trying to see, we hear this amount, but we don't know what to reference it to. From your point of view, is there an acceptable amount, or is there a health level amount that is okay? Or is it just factual information to know the number?
It is factual information to know the number, yes. I would not say there is a health permissible amount, because nobody wants to be exposed to pollution, right? Because pollutants come with health impacts, right? So there's really no, for example, some of the pollutants that were released, benzene, there's no safe level for benzene exposure. So I wouldn't say, yes, there's this level, right? I know that for criteria air pollutants, the US EPA has regulatory limits, the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for those pollutants. But still, I wouldn't encourage or want anyone to be exposed to pollution at all. And that's why we have those regulations in place to limit those emissions from happening.
Right. So then we're assuming this number of emissions is well beyond what these standards say should be emitted. Is that safe to say?
Most likely, because then again, the data set we used from TCQ is self-reported data. And with reported data, there's the risk of bias and underestimation of the levels that were actually released. Yes.
Dr. Uwak, my question is kind of a twofold question here. You mentioned the 5 incidents, 3 weather-related, 2 other, for example, a fire or other accidents. 1, what kind of pollutants are being released during these incidents? You mentioned 1. How concerned should residents be in the area? And then my other question about local impact essentially is, when one of these incidents happens, how quickly do nearby residents typically find out?
I'll start with your last question. Yeah. It depends, right, on how quickly residents find out. Most of the time, what we have seen is when these incidents occur, sometimes there's a shelter in place that it's announced in the area, right? And residents are told to shelter in place, to stay indoors, and it limits movement so that it reduces their exposures. But the usual reports we hear, like, oh, it's fine, you can, we found out, we did our own air monitoring, and it's been found that it's safe for people to move around, right? I remember an incident, I believe it was in Channel View, that afterwards, after the fact, we found out that there were still several pounds of pollution still in the air, even after the regulatory agencies had said, oh, and all clear, you're fine, there's nothing to worry about. So in terms of being aware that this has happened, for the most part, depending on the location, they do have structures in place, infrastructure in place to ensure that local communities are made aware, right, that this is happening.
However,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, we had a YouTube question from my British computer guy. Who are the worst offenders, and what's the most dangerous pollutant?
That's a great question. I would just, from our report from 2017 to 2024, which are our study years, the top 5 incidents that was responsible for over half the total air pollution released from these emission events included the ExxonMobil Baytown emission event, the Magellan Galena Park terminal leak and these two were during the Hurricane Harvey and as a result of Hurricane Harvey in 2017. Then the third one was the ITC Deer Park fire in 2019. And the fourth was the ExxonMobil Baytown fire, which occurred during Winter Storm Uri in 2021. And the fifth was Shell Deer Park chemicals fire in 2023. And I'm just listing this based off of the years, as the most recent was the 2023 one. And the second question was, what I believe the question was, what specific chemicals?
Well, what's the most dangerous pollutant? The most dangerous?
I
mean, they're all bad.
That's a challenging question to answer. The pollutants we saw in general included carbon monoxide, particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, ethylene. I'm just looking at the top 4 that we saw in general, and all 4. Particulate matter and sulfur dioxide are criteria air pollutants, so they're standards that have been put in place by the US EPA to ensure that we stay below the standards, right? Below the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or within that range. Carbon monoxide and ethylene. So I wouldn't say any of this is the most hazardous. They are all hazardous air pollutants, and they all come with health impacts. Sure. And a lot of times, one thing we have to realize is that when this emission event happens, these pollutants are in mixtures. So they wouldn't say it was only, sulfur dioxide. For the most part, it's a mixture of maybe there was some percentage of sulfur dioxide and some percentage of carbon monoxide, so sometimes it's not that one specific pollutant. So sometimes we get exposed to these pollutants in mixtures. So it's difficult to say this one pollutant is the most hazardous, right? It really depends on what is being emitted at that point in time.
Sure, that's fair.
Dr. Uwak, we kind of touched on this, but I want to go back. Your report uses data from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Are companies facing consequences when these unauthorized emissions occur? And you just mentioned the rolling back of some of this regulation. So where does this leave people within Harris County looking at potential the risks?
Yes. So the TCQ ought to enforce some of these regulations, right? And there is a rollback from the US EPA for the risk management program rule. They recently announced a new rule to replace that previous 2024 ruling that was termed the Safer Communities by Chemical Accident Prevention Final Rule. And the next steps really when we're facing these rollbacks, is the concern that it's weakening those protections that we relied on, because when I reviewed the new rule that is proposed by the EPA, a lot of them, they're ending a lot of requirements that would ensure that chemical facilities put safer technologies. They are rolling back some that has to do with eliminating requirements for companies to provide information directly to select members of the public within 6 miles of the facilities. So they're ending a lot of these good regulations or requirements on facilities to protect communities around. One thing I would say that community members can do is attend the virtual public hearing, which is happening next week, right? And the EPA is offering a public hearing where participants can share their input and ask some of these pertinent questions. If you're making these changes, how would that impact fence line communities, and what protections are you putting in place to ensure that, fence line communities are being protected? The public hearing will be March 10th from 12 p.m. Eastern Time to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can register on the EPA's website. If you look at the RMP ruling, and I can share the specific website where participants can register and speak at this public hearing. It's from 12 to 5, so there's sufficient time for members of the public to call in and share their concerns. You can also submit a comment online, and the comment submission period is open till April 10th. So hopefully, during this virtual meeting, the US EPA can see that communities are concerned, with these changes in regulations and how is going to impact fence line communities.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Dr. Inyang Uwak is the Research and Policy Director at Air Alliance Houston. Dr. Uwak, thank you so much for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure chatting with you all.
Coming up, looking out for others during spring break. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues.
Nearly a week since the U.S. and
Meet Gamola, songwriter, world-class violinist, and award-winning multi-genre artist. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. Visit ridemetro.org/Gamola to learn more about his ride.
I'm Juana Summers. How the war is impacting the region on All Things Considered from NPR News.
We'll have local and statewide news to go along with that coming your way 3 o'clock this afternoon on News 88.7.
Explore Mexico City before the conquistadors showed up.
The Spaniards had never seen anything like that before.
What Pompeii reveals about first-century Roman life.
There's only one real Pompeii, okay?
And look at how much its neighbors have shaped the identity of France.
It has been so often influenced by things coming across its borders.
On the next Travel with Rick Steves.
Tomorrow morning at 6, followed by Weekend Edition Saturday at 7 o'clock.
Next time on The Pulse, old school telephones, landlines seem like a relic from the past these days. People get nostalgic talking about them.
It was like the old school princess phone.
The sounds these phones made.
Where you put your finger in, you go
150 years after the first phone call was made, we'll take a look at the lasting impact of this technology.
That's on Pulse, Sunday afternoon at 2 on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' compensation provider committed to helping Texas communities and emphasizing safety. More at texasmutual.com/TexansGetIt.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie News. And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Next week is spring break, a highly anticipated holiday for many students across the country, particularly college students. While many young people go on trips with their friends during this time, research suggests that nearly 25% of college women report some kind of sexual assault during their spring break trip, with alcohol playing a role in 81% of such incidents. To tell us how we can prevent such incidents, the signs to be aware of, and what to do if something actually happens, we're joined by Jamie Ferrell, the Director of Forensic Nursing for Memorial Hermann Health Systems. Jamie, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you.
You know, those statistics are alarming, and you have to ask yourself, obviously, alcohol's involved, kids want to have fun, they're on the beach, Well, some of them are on the beach.
I know you do assume it's a beach vacation.
Environment, vacation. Why does that create such a high risk environment for sexual assault to happen?
So spring break is that perfect storm
Yeah.
for sexual assault. You have chaotic venues, you have unfamiliar environments. Everybody seems to be joyful and there for the same reason of just stress relief. But then there's this alcohol-fueled parties that happen. And with all of that, that is opportunity for perpetrators. And that nefarious intent that you don't stop and think about because everybody is sharing a good time and you feel like everyone is your friend.
Right. And I think the question, one thing that comes up, you say the word intent. And I think that in these situations, it's so hard because everybody is having fun. And it might seem, like, oh, everybody's just going back to the hotel room and then something happens. How can somebody differentiate between, no, something bad happened?
So the differentiation, sad to say, needs to happen when you're making your plan to go. And you need to say the worst and plan for the worst. And then when that doesn't happen, that's a win. And what I mean by that is before you even make plans to go on spring break, share your location. Who are you going to be with? Who are you going to be around? Make sure that they know what your location is so that you can always be found. And this is good for parents with adolescents, whether you're going to Disney. It doesn't matter where you're at. They can get lost and you always want to be found. So sharing location is the number one thing.
And even amongst your friends, I would imagine.
100% it has to be around the people that are closest to you. Yes.
Traveling in packs is always smart.
Yes, buddy system.
No matter where you are, just don't be traveling alone. That's always a problem. And we always think, well, these are all college kids and things go awry. There are a lot of, I would suggest, and I'm asking you really, older men that are 25 or 26, but they look like they're in college. So they get involved in the crowd and they say they're in college when in fact they're just there to find the right person to be with.
Take advantage of.
Yes.
They are looking for that opportunity and that individual that's vulnerable with their defenses lowered. And alcohol does that for both men and women. This is not only a women and children issue. This is a societal crime.
Yeah.
And as folks are listening to this and they're thinking, well, I'm not going on spring break. If I'm not mistaken, the actual fact is 1 in 4 college women report experiencing some form of sexual assault during college. It doesn't have to just be spring break. And that number actually kind of horrifies me. I've always understood, sexual assault's happening and it's bad. That many, really people should all stop and say, wow, this is insane. This is out of control.
And what should make us stop and think even more is how many of those do not come forward and release that guilt that they have because they aren't coming in and seeking health care. And that is such a critical issue for them. This is not their shame to bear. We hope that they take a breath and that they find that courage and that they come in to tell what has happened because it is the shame of the perpetrator that has taken advantage of the situation.
Make it clear, make it easier for folks to understand. Something happens, who and when do you report?
As soon as they feel or have a concern that something has happened, because sometimes they're passed out. Sometimes there's other things that have been placed in their drink. It could be just punch or a Coke.
Yeah.
And they are like, I woke up and I don't even know how I got where I am. And so immediately we want them to come to seek health care. And we can, at Memorial Hermann, having the forensic nurse help walk them through what their choices are. Because in Texas, we're very, very strong with choices for those who have been sexually assaulted. They can decide their path. One is they don't have to involve law enforcement right away. It's about letting them decide their health decisions, and we can collect their evidence and preserve it. And they can decide, get counseling, get strong, and then they can report up to 5 years, and that evidence is preserved for them.
Urgent care, emergency room, where should they go?
We want them to go certainly to an emergency department. All of our Memorial Hermann hospitals have got forensic nurses that will respond to that patient and guide their care. And it's so critical because in that first 72 hours, they need to be able to decide for HIV intervention if they have a concern.
And sometimes I'm curious, people may not be sure something happened. Should they still come?
100%. That intuition should drive them.
Has there ever been any geographical lists put down? I mean, you have statistics, 1 in 4, 25%. But have you ever said the majority during spring break are at this beach location or that beach location or this? I mean, certainly there are places that are more likely to have this kind of incident.
I think it follows the alcohol more than it does the beach.
Right. Because people go to, well, Miami is the beach, but it's still those party areas, right? And what's so difficult is, like you said, I think, Jamie, one of the things that really stood out to me is oftentimes victims from wherever, whatever you are, whoever you are, feel that shame and are not sure. And so knowing that it doesn't have to be escalated if you go to the hospital to seek care, you can seek care without it being escalated immediately. There's going to be police there, and it feels like there's just this huge stigma around it. We do have a call from Chris on the line who has a comment about spring break. Chris, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment?
Jamie's going to put on your headphones so you can hear the question.
Jamie?
Hi. One of the things I've had a conversation with my kids about is not putting their drinks down or making sure that they have a lid or something where it's not easy to slip something in their drink or put it down or anything.
Your comment is spot on, and I'm so grateful that you had that conversation. You should not, of course, if like a bartender is making the drink, you want to watch it being made. So anything that is open, not setting it down. If you're going to the bathroom, having someone watch that drink. But if you're going to the bathroom, have someone with you as well. So you don't want to have your group separated. So your point is perfectly communicated.
So basically, monitoring your, number one, be with people. Parents and adults need to tell their kids if they're going on spring break, listen, have that one friend, don't leave each other's side. I mean, I do that with my 10-year-old sometimes if she's going to, to the bathroom, like you can go with a friend. And then the other is be vigilant about your drink. Is there anything else that parents who are listening to this, or maybe even some college students or families that are going on vacation, should have those couple little points to stay vigilant?
I think there's power in prevention. The number one is share the location, because even though you say, yes, we're going to be with a friend, you somehow get separated. Somebody goes to the bathroom, and that's all it takes. So share the location, stay together, do not separate, and cover your drinks. Don't let anyone else serve you. Protect, open containers. Very, very important.
And the thing that you just said, Celeste, too, which isn't in the list, but you started with it. Have those conversations with your kids. Let the parents talk to their children. Understand these may be uncomfortable conversations, but it's much better than what could happen.
And I guarantee you, your kids are going to roll their eyes at you and say, it's not going to happen to me. And you're like, no, well.
Just still have those conversations.
Well, your kids and your adults will roll their eyes at you.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie Ferrell is the Director of Forensic Nursing for Memorial Hermann Health Systems. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us with this incredible, important information today on Hello Houston.
Thank you for letting us talk about it.
Coming up, we're going to continue discussing today's top headlines. We'll also discuss a new COVID report from Harris County Health. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from members like you and from Ellen Benninghoven and Dr. Michael Schaefer, proud sponsors of Houston Matters with Craig Cohen, Monday through Friday mornings at 9 with encores every weeknight at 9 here on News 88.7. We'll get up to a high around 83 this afternoon with about a 20% chance of showers and storms. More scattered rain overnight with a low of 72. Then rain likely throughout the weekend. 80 to 90% chance tomorrow and Sunday with highs right around 80. And that is what it happens to be right now here at the UH campus. And this is your NPR station, KUHF Houston, News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, Republican Representative Tony Gonzales of Texas announced he is withdrawing from his reelection race after admitting to an affair with a former staff member who later died by suicide. We'll discuss this and more of the top headlines of the day. I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman.
And I'm Ernie Manus. In recognition of Women's History Month, we'll revisit the inspirational story of Houston singer Christina Wells from my interviews series.
And I'm Frank Billingsley. Plus, we'll also share a list of everything going down in H-Town this weekend for our regular Friday feature, Last Minute Plans.
Also, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston continues right after the news from NPR and News 88.7.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
As Israel and the United States continue their offensive in Iran, the World Health Organization says an estimated 100,000 people have fled the Iranian capital, Tehran. Some people have made their way overland to Turkey. NPR's Ruth Sherlock is at the border crossing.
The people coming out of Iran look grey-faced and pallid from the terror they've experienced this past week. They bring with them stories of airstrikes hitting close to their cars as they journeyed out of the country, of intense bombardments in the cities that they've come from. Many with stories of civilian casualties, saying these airstrikes are landing in dense residential neighborhoods. There are also many people going back into Iran. Scared, of course, they say, to go back into a country at war, but with communications largely down, they need to know if their loved ones are safe, and going back is the only way to reach them. Ruth Sherlock, NPR News on the Turkish-Iranian border.
Amid concerns about the stock of weapons available to the U.S. military, NPR's Frank Ordonez tells us White House officials plan to meet with some of the biggest U.S. defense contractors today.
White House officials are expected to press its contractors to accelerate weapons production as the U.S. expands its war in Iran. The White House and Pentagon say the U.S. military has already hit more than 2,000 targets. President Trump says the war may last 4 to 5 weeks. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says strikes will accelerate in the coming days. U.S. officials who were not authorized to speak publicly told NPR that they're concerned about a lack of missile interceptors and may have to draw from other stockpiles. The Pentagon, though, has pushed back, saying they have sufficient precision munitions, and that once they gain more control of Iranian airspace, they'll be able to rely on less sophisticated weapons. Franco Ordonez, NPR News.
A public memorial service for the late Reverend Jesse Jackson is underway in Chicago this hour. He died last month at the age of 84. Here's NPR's Jason DeRose.
It's billed as Reverend Jackson's homegoing and kicked off with a rousing hymn honoring the civil rights leader, led by the Legacy Mass Choir.
We're going to ask everybody to stand up on your feet and let's celebrate his life. Y'all ready? Listen. Oh, happy day.
Speakers at this service include 3 former presidents, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton, along with former Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as Christian, Jewish, and Muslim leaders from across the country. A smaller private memorial service takes place Saturday. Reverend Jackson will be laid to rest at the historic Oakwood Cemetery in Chicago. Jason DeRose, NPR News.
This is NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. The recent war with Iran is causing a spike in gasoline prices, up 29 cents per gallon to the price of $2.78. If prices continue to climb, Daniel Armbruster with the AAA says this could impact spring break travel plans.
Some folks may decide to stay closer to home. That is certainly a possibility.
There's still ways to save on fuel, especially using the AAA mobile app. You can use that to find cheaper gas near you. And again, just driving safely and making sure your vehicle is well maintained can go a long way.
Armbruster offers some tips like slowing down, using cruise control, and making sure your tires are properly inflated to maximize gas mileage. Six Flags is selling 7 of its parks, including Schlitterbahn Galveston. Officials say the sales will put them in a better financial position and will help create a better guest experience by focusing on the remaining 34 Six Flags parks across North America. Schlitterbahn Galveston will continue to operate as normal through the 2026 season. In sports, spring training action. The Astros blanked by Miami 2-0 last night. They tee it up with the Nationals from West Palm Beach coming up in about 10 minutes. The Rockets drop one in overtime to the Golden State Warriors, 115-113. Houston welcomes in the Trailblazers from Portland downtown at 7 p.m. And your check of weather. Mostly cloudy and windy with a chance of showers this afternoon, a high of 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy and windy, low of 71 with gusty winds. And then windy, showers and thunderstorms expected Saturday with a high of 83. Right now, breezy, 84 degrees, so we've beaten the high on the UH campus. For more news and information, go to our webpage, houstonpublicmedia.org. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive Insurance, working to help protect small businesses and the owners that run them, offering customizable coverages to salons, accounting firms, tradespeople, and more. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
And it's hour 2 of the end of the week. At least for us on Hello Houston.
We want to thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us now on Hello Houston, I always love to say, I like to shout out. I know we shout out a lot of our YouTubers, but to our OGs that listen to us on the radio, 88.7. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Yeah. What's the date?
Today is March 6, 2026. We're in the midst of rodeo season and spring.
Isn't March 6 like Alamo Day?
Oh.
Well, yesterday was Texas Wine Day.
I thought that was every day when the rodeo's in town. I am just shocked it's March. I mean, I realize it on some level, but to hear you say March, I'm like, aren't we still in February?
March 6th.
And then I think, oh my God, I must have been drinking expired milk because I still think it's February.
Well, I was also going to say spring has sprung, but technically, yes, right, Frank? That's a technical thing.
When is spring?
That spring has sprung, but
yeah, for meteorological purposes and climate data and record keeping, is the seasons are by the month. So you have December, January, February is winter, then March, April, May is spring, June, July, August is summer, and then we have.
But what's the first day of spring? We always have that kind of weird.
That's when the vernal equinox occurs.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Spring?
You don't?
Spring. Spring 2026.
Okay, what is it?
It's going to be the 23rd. Oh, it's late.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the 21st, 22nd. September 23rd, which is Wednesday.
September?
Well, that's fall.
Yeah, like that's really late spring.
You know, that's really interesting. I said, when is the first day of spring? And it came up with September on the time of day. That's a mistake on the internet. You know, never believe everything.
What?
Okay, it's March 20th.
March 20th.
You're telling me the internet was wrong?
Well, you know what is?
I mean, something from time and date, they don't get a lot wrong.
You know what we're going to do right? Yesterday, we missed current obsessions. So to right that wrong, we're going to fold in current obsessions with our last-minute plans, and we need you to start sending them in. I want to know, what are you obsessed with? Let us know. You can text us at 713-440-8870. You can, if you're over on YouTube, our YouTubers are there. Celeste was just making reference to. Put it in there. Let us in the chat. We'll gather them up and we'll share them at the end of the show. Also, you can email us, talk@hellohouston.org.
Yes,
it is Alamo Day, by the way, 1836.
Very good.
March 6th.
And, also one of the reasons why we are going to do current obsessions as well is because a lot of people already sent in their current obsessions.
Did they really?
Yesterday they wanted them. And
Yesterday they were popping and we didn't get to them. So
that sounds good. My obsession is this whole daylight savings time. We've discussed this before. Should we go to daylight saving time and then never change our clocks again?
Senator Ted Cruz is on the
I'm on board.
The oversight.
For those of you who didn't listen in the first hour, it's this weekend.
It's tomorrow night. This is the last night before. I mean, tonight you get your regular sleep in hours for Saturday morning, and then Sunday you lose an hour of sleep.
I don't think I can get a bigger coffee mug.
Well, and I'm very confused. I must not have followed the news closely on this one. Didn't we in Texas say we're not doing it anymore?
Well, in Texas, we did pass that law that we're not doing it anymore, but it's only if, as a country, we decide to not do it anymore. We'll be ready. We'll have already passed it.
Because I started changing everything I send people when I say, like, if we're trying to book an interview, I always say Texas time because I have no idea what we were anymore.
No, you do not.
I don't say Central. I say Texas.
You should read the whole paragraph next time.
I probably should.
Wow.
That's why. Well, then that makes sense. I learned something.
Well, it's kind of smart.
This many years old.
It's kind of smart to be ready for it because Rubio's big behind it. He's big on it because of Florida. And, a lot of Mexico has dropped changing their clocks.
Yes, Mexico does.
Not entirely. Mexico still has about 3 different time zones.
They do.
And now British Columbia up in Canada has gone the way of they're going to change it tomorrow night and they're not going to change it back. That's it.
Yeah, but then the problem ends up that sometimes it's an hour ahead, sometimes it's 2 hours ahead, sometimes you never know.
Absolutely right.
Oh my God, so confusing.
Ernie, is Texas time in alignment with astroscientists?
Yes, it's like Texas time, astroscientist, and Houston land.
Right.
All things Ernie Manous is trying to get started in this world. 3 things that will not get started in my lifetime.
But you know what we are going to get started on?
What?
How about the headlines?
The headlines.
Take us in.
Here we go.
Disclaimer, the following story references suicide and could be triggering for some listeners, so I do want to be sensitive to that. And this is a tough, really sad story. Republican Congressman Tony Gonzales says he will not seek re-election following revelations that he had an affair with a former staff member who later died by suicide. In a statement posted late Thursday, Gonzales said that after deep reflection and discussion with his family, he decided to withdraw from the race but plans to finish out the remainder of his term in Congress. The decision comes after calls from Republican leaders to end his re-election bid and from some members of Congress urging him to resign altogether. The situation has also prompted an investigation by the U.S. House Ethics Committee into his conduct. Gonzales had recently been forced into a May runoff against gun manufacturer and YouTube influencer Brandon Herrera. His decision to step aside appears to clear the field for the Republican nomination, though the ethics investigation into the matter is ongoing. If you have questions or thoughts about this developing story, we welcome your calls. 713-440-8870. I also want to make a mention. If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available through the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988.
Yeah, that's such a sad story. She set herself on fire. That was the way that she took her own life. It's just horrible. The texts have come out. The pictures have come out. Yeah. It seems like he's asked for forgiveness from God and his family and all of that, and has dropped out of the race.
Now, there is also some question as to what prompted the suicide, because it seems as though there was an affair also with the husband, with someone else, and that when first responders got to her, what she said was that she did it because her husband was having an affair. So there's lots of levels and layers to this story, and that's really not the headline we're talking about, but it all plays into it. The concern is back to our elected official who is having this illicit affair and denied it, and then there was concern about it. Of course, then the tragedy that then builds out of it, I'm sure the tentacles of the whole situation reach back.
And I think it's even more pronounced because this was a staff member. So this falls right into sexual harassment and a workplace environment and its power struggle and all that. It's not like some of our elected leaders have had affairs, but with people that they really had no direct association with. At least they weren't their boss.
Right.
But when you're the boss and you're having an affair with staff, that's a whole different dynamic.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, and I think it goes beyond politics at this point, right? And like you said, it raises larger questions around the dynamics and the accountability for elected officials and how personal conduct intersects, for me, with public service. And it's that, this is, as Frank mentioned, a situation between power dynamics and staff members.
Yeah, and she apparently let other members of the staff know that she was having this harassment going on.
Right.
And so that's why it just creeps throughout the whole office, right? That's why you don't do it.
Congress does have strict rules when we look at it about relationships with staff due to potential coercion and professional pressure. And I read the text messages, and I thought it was disgusting. And even at one point, she says his name is Tony, or she calls him boss. She says, "I think you went too far, boss." And he kept going, and it just was so. I think for me, it was just so uncomfortable because that is so common.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of levels of this that bother me, and in simply. The idea that he can, and this happens all the time, and I'm so tired of it anymore, his first reaction is to say, no, it never happened. Right. And the only time that he finally fesses up to it did happen was when they can bring the receipts, as we say. And so this has become the standard of people just lying. Everyone lies in every direction these days. I know this is going to get sad, but it's like, I'm so over it. I'm so tired of it that you can't trust a thing anyone says. Celeste and I were joking the other day about something like this when I was saying, when we were kids growing up, if a parent said to another parent, one day they're going to be a politician, that was taken in as somebody who knows how to negotiate something and work something through and find bridges and make things happen. And today, if one parent says to another parent, your kid over there is going to be a politician, the parent takes it as an insult, that they're a manipulator, a liar, greed. It has shifted our culture and how we understand. And this situation just shows it. And the fact that he doesn't resign. At this point.
It's very interesting, right? And I think this is very important that we note this. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and certain GOP leadership called for Gonzales to drop his reelection. But not. They did not explicitly call for him to resign from Congress. And that's simply because Republicans hold a very narrow majority.
They're worried about
in
the numbers,
House.
and that matters to them more.
And that's called politics.
But what's even also called politics, I'm getting all hot under the collar here now, that the people in his district got him into the runoff. That this information, now, I don't know exactly when the information came out and how much of it was early voting before people were fully aware of the situation and all of that. But the fact that he still carried enough to be in a runoff.
But he didn't win. He was second in the runoff. He's in the runoff.
Right, but that's enough people were still saying, that's the kind of guy we want to support us.
Yeah.
I just have trouble with that. If he was the only candidate, I could see it. But there were options.
You see the president of the United States, right?
Yes. Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. What are your thoughts about Gonzales dropping out? Should he have come clean earlier? Should he finish out his term?
That's the real question.
Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
All right.
Speaking of dropping out.
Yeah. And I think these stories in some ways are very connected because it is who is deciding who is representing us. And there's a lot to unpack here. In one case, I say, why didn't the voters vote Gonzales out so that, They made a choice. They're voters. We should respect. That's what this next story is going to be. We should respect the will of the voters, though, because the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, says that he might consider dropping out of the U.S. Senate race under one condition. In a social media post Thursday, Paxton said that he would step aside if Senate Republicans agreed to abolish the filibuster and pass a Trump-backed voting bill known as the Save America Act. A lot on that we'll get into. The proposal would require proof of citizenship to register to vote, along with new identification rules at the polls. Paxton used the statement to criticize his Republican primary opponent, incumbent Senator John Cornyn, who has not supported eliminating the filibuster to pass this measure. Political observers say Paxton offers appear largely aimed at drawing attention to this issue as its closely watched GOP Senate race continues. The thing that's not in this that I just read and why I'm stumbling at the end because I want to get to the point is all of this is happening because Donald Trump said he's about to endorse one, and which one he doesn't endorse should drop out of the race, and it's believed he's going to endorse Cornyn. But that goes back, and this was the original response from Ken Paxton to that was, I spent a year of my life running for this, and the voters of Texas voted me enough votes that I should be in this runoff. Nobody has a right to take away their voice and say I should drop out of the race so the other guy can win. This is up to the voters. Yeah. So in that case, it's like, yes, the voters said he should be in the race. He should be in it. We look at Gonzales and we say the voters said he should be in the race, but he shouldn't be in it.
Well, if you can find me a cushy ambassador job or some nice cabinet position.
There's something being
dangled.
Absolutely.
He'll be taken care of.
About Gonzales, really quickly, I thought this was really interesting. Chef Rob on YouTube says, I'm not defending anyone, but those were two consenting adults making poor decisions, very poor decisions. And I do think that it's unfortunate, yes. But again, the question becomes that intersection between public service and our elected officials.
And the as Frank was mentioning, and you, Celeste, the text that came out did imply that there was some kind of pressure and uncomfortableness there. And so then that becomes that whole sexual harassment and the whole Me Too stuff. But I also think that, like this caller's saying, people make decisions. Also, the husband said there's more texts, and Gonzales had said you don't know the whole story. So who knows?
It gets messy. Arturo is on the line from Pearland. Hello, Arturo. Welcome to Hello Houston.
Hello, long time, first time. With the Gonzales thing, the saying no and then coming back after the receipts are out. It just, I went to school for communication, PR kind of focus, and it just seems like none of these leaders are PR trained.
Mm-hmm.
Do they even have ethics that they go by? Because you'd think someone in a position of power like that they would think, oh, this is obviously going to look bad. I should just not dip the pen in company ink. But what are the standards that we're giving these people?
Yeah. Very true. And it's like, who is handling this media savviness of these candidates? The thing is, anybody can say anything until it's proven it's not true, and then they change the story. The problem, the bigger harm is that as a populace, we no longer can believe anything we're told. And I don't think we do. And that's why so many conspiracy things can grow, because nobody knows what to believe anymore. So if I believe it, it's true for me.
And I think it's also to Arturo, our caller, when you're looking at small towns and elected officials, it's very slim offices and staff. They aren't going to have a team of PR people that can say this is the way you should do it. Mm-hmm. They're just doing it themselves. They're doing their own social media. They're doing their own marketing. They're doing their own campaigning. If they come from perhaps a background with deep pockets, sure, there might be that. But in these smaller towns, a lot of people, they're doing it themselves. And
that's why they don't know what to do.
I think about Tony Gonzales' wife.
Oh, yeah.
And 6 children?
713-440-8870. Sean is on the line from Memorial. Sean, what are you thinking?
I was at the polling booth trying to vote, and I'm a Democrat. There are so many people. didn't know most of who I was voting for, and there's no way to get access at the booth to figure out who you're voting for. I think the reason why Gonzales got all his votes is because of that, because people at the booth aren't given an opportunity to kind of search up, have access phone, access computer, and nobody has the time, given how we're all so busy at work, to actually see who's getting voted into office.
That's Sean, good point. Yeah. Voter education. That's what we try and stress here all the time, is that there are voter guides out there. There's different ways to look at it. Be aware when you go to the poll. Take a sample ballot, fill it out. But like you say, so many people don't have time for that. And us in Harris County, we had, the longest ballot in the nation. And so, how do you know that? I didn't know half the judges. You know?
And a lot of times you just vote for a name you know.
Right.
Because it's like, that person's been doing the job. They must be pretty good at it. Well, so you just vote for them.
Back in when I was living in Chicago many years ago, Lieutenant Governor got in who was affiliated with Lyndon LaRouche because his last name was something like Smith. And people thought, oh, that's a calm name. I'll just pick that very generic name, not knowing anything about who they voted in as their Lieutenant Governor.
But, to Sean's point, he's basically saying that there are people that just simply don't have access to computers,
don't
or
have the
a
information,
phone, or a printer to print out a ballot and look at these things. Most people do have a phone, but understanding where to go to and see access
and
to
you can't
this,
use your phone at the polls.
Access to this information is so important, and we just assume people have it.
Well, and a lot of people go to the polls for 3 races, the big ones, and then they find out there's another 100 of them, and you're like, you can't find out every single thing about every single person running for judge in this county. I mean, Ernie can and does.
And it took me a long time on this ballot, and we talk about this all the time and have candidates on and go through it, and but anyway, I just want to go back to the Paxton situation. What do you think? Do you think he is going to step out? Or do you think, because what you were saying already, they're not going to get rid of the filibuster.
No, John Thune has already said we're not doing that.
So that's not going to happen. That's what he said is this line in the sand.
It's a no-start point completely. And yes, I think that he will drop out and he will wind up in a really nice position appointed by President Trump.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking, Celeste?
I don't disagree with that. I think this is all.
He's not going to do it for nothing. He's already out as Attorney General. He can't go back to that. So he's going to have something. And the fact that Trump said this 2 days ago and still hasn't come down with exactly who he's going to endorse tells me that there are a lot of behind the scenes discussions going on.
Absolutely. Well, it's the money. They don't want to spend the money in Texas because Texas was seen to be a safe red seat, an easy one, and that there's a lot of much closer races across the country, and that's where the National Committee should be putting their money in those races. What's going on here in Texas is costing a fortune. They already spent, almost $200 million, with another $100 million coming, they're thinking, on this race alone, where that money could be spent in better places if they could just clean up their house. Meanwhile, over on the Democratic side, it looks like they're coming together.
Yeah.
The former Vice President, Kamala Harris, has come out and said you should support James Tallarico and, Jasmine Crockett had a good run, and now we should all gather behind our candidate. And I'm seeing that coming out now on social media. Initial reaction was folks that didn't get their candidate in were concerned, and now they're starting to realize the bigger picture.
I will say, Jasmine Crockett, what she posted on social media in regards to when she called James Tallarico to congratulate him was a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I thought, how classy, how this is the way we should be looking to our elected officials. This is politics society. This is a party situation where she came out and she really said, this is about the future of all 30 million Texans and getting America back on track. With the primary behind us, Democrats must rally around our nominees and win. She said, I'm committed to doing my part and will continue working to elect Democrats.
And she's not done. She is an excellent candidate and an excellent representative, and she's young and she has a huge career ahead of her.
But I did think that, we saw these two candidates that from an ideological standpoint were very in alignment, but very different approaches in style. And she didn't have to do that. We see it over and over where, people say, I don't have to say a statement. I don't need to do this. And the fact that she did, I thought that
for people who are upset with the run, she came into the race late. You know, she didn't have the same infrastructure in place that Tallarico had built because he came into the race earlier. Doesn't make her a bad candidate, doesn't make her a bad choice. And the next day she was up on Capitol Hill still doing her job. And so God bless her, and I hope for a strong future. They're already talking about, we do have 2 senators in this state, and she could be the other one the next go round. So it's Republicans have to look at what's going on, and they have to be kind of worried because this internal struggle is only going to hurt them.
Frank and I talked about this yesterday when we were at the rodeo, this specific topic about President Trump coming out and saying, you know, whoever I don't endorse needs to come out. And we want to make it very clear. The president has the right to endorse whoever he wants and get behind. However, the question then becomes, the concern becomes that you have a national level elected official, the president of the United States, having a higher impact on our elections than the voters of Texas.
Right. And I also pointed out it might backfire on him.
Very well.
Because the Paxton supporters may say, well, wait a minute.
You took away our right to vote for our candidate?
Exactly.
Yep.
And therefore, I'm going to stay home.
Well, that's why they want him to drop, so he can say, you know, I'm dropping out, that Paxton is dropping out because I got what I wanted, and that's what was best for the state, and that's what I was pushing for.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we just need to get Paxton on.
Yes.
Hello, Houston.
Here's our open invitation. Paxton, Cornyn, come on. Trump, you want to give us a call? I know you like to call people. Yeah. He calls in to randomly call us.
We'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, and we want to hear what you have to say. Whenever you have an opinion or thought on the stories we're talking about, whether it's in the top of the show or in our interviews, give us a call at 713-440-8870. Right now, our producers are busy gathering up all your current obsessions. So if you've got one, share it with us now, 713-440-8870.
Coming up on Hello Houston for National Women's Month, we're going to revisit the inspirational story of Houston singer Christina Wells with interviews. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
On the next Science Friday.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
From Metro, introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare System replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for the bus and rail. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system. And from Asia Society, Texas, offering spring break anime workshops in the closing weeks of the House of Pikachu, Art, Anime, and Pop Culture Exhibition. More information at asiasociety.org/Texas.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're listening right now. Take the next steps and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference, and what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a few minutes to make a big difference. Join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And now back to Hello Houston. Call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org to get your comment in on today's topics. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
For National Women's Month, we're revisiting the inspirational story of Houston singer and former America's Got Talent contestant Christina Wells, an interview I recorded for my Interviews series. Take a listen. I first got to know you before America's Got Talent. That was just happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who are you now different from the person before that?
Oh, that is okay. You're getting into it.
We're going right in.
Well, I think before, I'm a nurse and I'm a mama. And so during the 2017, 2018 timeframe, all the way to 2020, my kids have graduated. moved out. My oldest son's gotten married. I'm a grandma now. And also, I no longer work in the bedside of the hospital. I don't work in a hospital at all anymore. I work from home. And so my life is really completely different than it was before. Yeah. And also, I think the other thing is that before I was desperate for the opportunity to share my gift. And now I have realized that I don't have to feel desperate. Like, I can feel comfortable and know that the right things are coming to me, and I can trust that that will happen at the right time. And I think that's what America's Got Talent taught me big time.
But was it the success that show gave you, or was it just a maturing in yourself?
Oh, 100% maturing in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like learning that I will live. Like, I mean, I lived all these years, right? I'll be 50 this year. Yes, my first time singing was at 42. Right? That was the first time I really got to put my voice out there, my talent. I tried when I was 19, 20, but yeah, it's only been in my 40s. And so yeah, definitely she's a different lady than she was when she was younger. I joke and say the reason that success waited so long for me to get to enjoy it was because I probably would have been immature.
Yeah.
Like even in my 30s.
Yeah.
Probably would have been a little immature. Ego can get you quickly in this industry. Things go well for a while. You start to get a little lackadaisical or think it's going to be fine. But life has taught me to stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And so, yeah, anytime I see that happening, like I'll go to an event and someone will be like, oh, you're so nice or you're so willing to work. And I'm like, I know people probably have come in who haven't been. We both know people like that who think they could just show up, right? But I have been in the background for so long that I've so much respect for the people that make it happen, even more than the people on the screen with you. So yeah, I think age has definitely helped to make me more of a mature woman who could handle this more gracefully.
Before sitting down to do this, and I will take you back, talk life and all that, but I was looking at the performances on America's Got Talent.
Yes.
And the thing that struck me this time that I don't think I noticed before or thought about before was how that must have felt for you to walk out on that stage. And before you start realizing what could be, what was about to happen, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Well, you know, we've all sat in our living room and watched some show and been like, if I was, like maybe Jeopardy, whatever, right? We're like, if I was on there. So I had definitely had that in the back of my head. I had always said, if Simon could hear me sing. So now Simon was going to hear me sing. But I think more than anything, I was in a place, especially whenever I went on America's Got Talent the very first time, of not so much just thinking like, oh, my dreams are going to come true, but this is my chance at least to get to try.
Yeah.
I never felt like I got to really try and put myself out there. And I always think of that Christina as her own person, separate from me. So that Christina, I'm grateful to her. That Christina in the pink dress, she took a huge chance. She was afraid. I always joke, but it's true. I peed my pants a little, like so afraid. I was terrified. And it was really one of those moments of feel the fear and do it anyway. And she took a huge risk as she tried something that was so scary to her. And I'm so grateful that she did because she changed my life. Yeah. Like everyone says that Simon Cowell, the fact that he stood up and I got the 4-chair standing ovation, like that's a big deal. Most people get 3-chair. I got the 4-chair, right. But the truth is, and I say this all the time, before Simon could say yes to me, I had to say yes to me. And that Christina said yes to herself. She didn't say, oh, you're too fat. She didn't say, you're too old. She didn't say, it's too late. She said, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And she went and did that. And that's how I have the life I have now because of her. So I always try to say that I'm doing the best I can because past Christina got me where I'm at. Present Christina needs to work her butt off to impress future Christina.
Who is future Christina? Any idea?
I do, actually. I very much know who future Christina is right now. She, I know that she's moving into a place where singing is one of the mediums, not the only medium. I very much now am in a place where I feel like I have something to share. More than just singing, I have a story to tell. I think my life has a lot of lessons in it. You know how you go through things and you're like, why is this happening to me? I feel like I know now why. I think that I have what I call cheat codes on life. I figured out how to stay happy through hardship. I figured out how to stay confident through society's pressures to say that I myself sitting right now don't qualify as what the idea of beauty is or what the idea of intellect is or what the idea of success is. You know, there were many years I walked into patients' rooms and they thought I was the maid. And so being a brown plus size woman, being gay, like all these things about me, I feel like I have something to share with the world. I don't know if I've told you this out loud, but I've written a book. And yes, and it's a book called Confidence, and it's me sharing portions of my life and explaining how I once lost my confidence and how I've learned to regain it, and that confidence isn't a place that you arrive to. It's a journey every day, and it's a practice that I have to constantly put in place, and that's how we can all feel confident. Yeah. And so, the Christina Wells of the future, she's an author. She's going to have a TED Talk. She's going to have her book, one of many. That's the Christina of the future. She will still sing, though, whenever she does all those things.
I asked you a little bit ago about the difference between the Christina before America's Got Talent and the Christina today. If I asked your children about the difference in you, what would they say to me?
Well, one of the things when I talk to my kids about my progression is my sons will tell me, whenever we first started, they were like, we don't know what took everyone so long. That's my favorite thing they ever said. Whenever America's Got Talent interviewed them, they were like, are you so proud of your mom? Are you so surprised? And they were like, no, we're wondering what took all of you so long. And that was the greatest compliment. But I was talking to my kids just the other day, and they're like, the thing that they see is that I've continued the hard work. They're like, Mom, you keep working. You've improved your singing. You've improved your acting. You've improved all these things that they saw the seeds of. Yeah. Right. And so that's what they say to me. They're like, that I continue to work hard constantly. And you and I have talked. I'm relentless. I'm an all day kind of a lady. I've always have 1,000 projects and so many things I want to accomplish. Let me make all the clothes and sing all the songs and produce the show. Right.
And do your nails.
And do my nails, of course. Yes. Yeah. I do my nails and then also translate it into other languages. I mean, just anything I can do. But yeah. So that's the thing they say to me. They're like, you just keep on doing the work. And that's what makes me proud, because when I started this, and I said this on America's Got Talent, is that I want to show my boys that your dreams can come true. I think we believe dreams belong to youth. You can only have dreams when you're 18. Mm-hmm. Opportunity belongs to the young. It makes no sense. You don't know who you are at that age. Yeah. You don't know who you are. How are you supposed to know everything that's supposed to happen? Or if your opportunity comes, we see this in famous people who are young. The struggle they go through, we could list names right now. Some of them don't survive the struggle, either they have fallen off of it or they passed away, unfortunately. And so, I think it's crazy to think that dreams and opportunity and all of that can only happen when you're young. I believe it can happen anytime in life. Yeah. And that's the message I know now my children see. I know they see it, and that's what I want for them in their lives too.
The other point of that makes me think of is when we all know, really amazingly talented people who don't put the work in.
Yes, exactly right.
And will never get it because when opportunity comes and knocks, they didn't do the work to be ready for it. Yes. And I felt like you were ready for it, even if maybe you hadn't come to it till later to want to do it. You didn't look away. You didn't take it for granted. Mm-mm. You knew that to keep it, you had to work at it. Mm-hmm. You always want to improve. You always want to be better than yesterday. And I think a lot of people who are fortunate enough to be gifted with the talent you have feel like, well, I've got it. Look at it.
Yeah, exactly. The doors should just open.
Right.
Or that also the discovered sentence, you've been discovered, or that, everything just happens for you. I 100% agree with you. My son played football, and I said to him every day, because he's athletic, but there were, of course, other guys who could throw farther, run faster, whatever. And I told him all the time, hard work beats talent every time talent forgets to do the hard work.
Oh, good one.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because I could tell you in anything in life, maybe if you walk in the door, you don't know, like you go to an interview or you go to an audition, and I've auditioned for so many things now. I don't think I'm the best singer that always sings when I walk in a room. I know I'm not. I know that I'm not. I am a talented woman, but I hear many voices that are amazing. But you know what I will do? I'm going to work hard. I'm going to show up prepared every day. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be easy to work with. I'm going to be ready. You want my headshot? Boom. Biography? Got you. Christina, we need B-roll. We need pictures. I'm going to have it all ready to go. And so I think oftentimes being easy to work with, being willing to do the hard work, that's, if not more, but equally as important as talent. Yeah. Because a lot of people have talent. I'll meet someone and I'm like, my goodness, listen to you sing. My Lord, why doesn't everyone know about you? But then I work with them and I'm like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why. Yeah. This is why. Because you're right. A lot of people think talent excuses them from being on time or being prepared or practicing, rehearsing. Mm-hmm. You'd be shocked. I'm shocked. Because I'm literally like, I can't believe anybody wants to hear Christina Wells from Pasadena sing. Like, I say that all the time. You want me to do that? Oh, yes. Okay. What do I got to do? I'm working on something every day to be ready for that next opportunity.
That was part of my conversation with singer and former America's Got Talent contestant Christina Wells. Christina will be back on stage this summer in the Art Park Players production of Hairspray this July, and in August in the Sankoff Collective's Jesus Christ Superstar also. For that and more, visit ChristinaWells.com, and you can see the full conversation with Christina on our YouTube channel. Just look for interviews and Christina Wells. Just visit HelloHouston.org and look for today's show post. Okay, coming up, we're going to discuss our last-minute plans and our current obsessions. Stay with us and share yours as Hello Houston continues.
You count on Houston Public Media.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross-country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
Hour from the BBC. With Oscar nominees Chinese filmmaker Chloe Zhao talks Hamlet, we'll hear from Brazilian filmmaker Cleber Mendonça Filho and star of The Secret Agent Wagner Moura, Begonia's Greek author Yorgos Lanthimos, and Brazilian cinematographer Adolfo Veloso. That's all in the Arts Hour from the BBC.
You have two chances to catch that tonight at 10 with an encore Saturday night at 11 on News 88.7.
I'm Christopher Kimball from Milk Street Radio. This week, Padma Lakshmi is back with a joke.
Well, my daughter is in puberty, and at the same time, I am in perimenopause. So, it's basically the estrogen wars.
Padma Lakshmi does stand up. That's coming up this week on Milk Street Radio from PRX.
Sunday afternoon at 1 on News 88.7, and a bit later on Sunday.
I'm Anita Rao. Rebecca Alman is a self-described witch. Think less broomstick, more instinct.
I feel like magic is about listening to signals. What are you thinking about? What's important to you? How can I create space for you to make the impact you want to make?
A conversation about reclaiming your intuition. Next time on Embodied.
That's Sunday at 8 o'clock on News 88.7.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
We're back. We're almost done. It's the weekend is upon us.
It is.
And don't forget to change your clocks. Spring forward 1 hour.
That's right.
Late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, or whenever you wake up. Just realize it's not 8:30; it's 9:30.
While we're pondering what the time actually is and what it will be, remember, we are gathering up your current obsessions, the things that are keeping you going, as we often say, Celeste often says, the thing that keeps you in the car, in the driveway a little longer to listen to a podcast or stay up at night watching a TV streaming show or just a piece of music you listen to over and over again. Any of those, share them with us. We want to know what those are, in addition to your weekend plans.
And I received a text right now on my email. I think we all might have gotten it. And it says, this person's current obsession, she says, or he says, I'm a regular listener on the actual radio in my home as well as my car. I love your show. My current obsession is watching the Epstein wars continue to escalate as Congress continues to look into the actual Epstein files. And by the way, the information in these files is not boring and it's not sordid. It's horrifying.
Wow.
Yes, I've been following, and this is the problem. I'm falling into the tabloid holes of all of this stuff, and I've been looking at the images. Somebody's gone through all the files of videos and pictures from the Epstein files and putting up little images of it and stuff. My problem is, though, I'm in this world where I don't know what's real and what's not anymore. What's AI'd, what's not AI'd, what's truth, what's not. But whatever.
It's disturbing. A tsunami of information.
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for someone like the New York Times writer or someone to really kind of put together a 300-page book of what we really need to know.
Yeah,
what's
what really
true,
happened.
what really happened. Tell us what's going on here. So, but that's going to be hard to do.
It is going to be hard to do.
Celeste, what are you obsessed with?
Right now, I'm kind of obsessed. I don't know.
She's
not really
obsessed
anything.
with not being obsessed.
Yeah.
Our
Sorry, I know that's
my
very
obsession, our
anticlimactic.
obsession is also what we're doing this weekend.
Yeah.
Because y'all both been to parties. We've had parties at our new place, right? We
Yes.
have this high rise. We've had a few parties.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a dinner party.
Ooh.
So we're having a dinner party tomorrow night. Just 6 people. Us and 2 other couples. Sorry if you're
I
not
guess
one of
we
them.
didn't make the cut,
Nope, you didn't
Celeste.
make the cut. And Kevin is obsessed with, which means I have to be.
Right.
Big flowers, little flowers. First course at 6, second course at 7. Then we'll have the main course at 8. What's the timing?
Oh,
when
my
should we do?
Lord.
It's an you know what? It is gay times 100. It is. We are gay, and everything's got to be perfect. And we pull out all the plates, and we'll use this plate. No, let's use that
Yes.
plate. No, let's
And
yes.
then you have to write the course on a little
Yes,
note,
with a chalk.
with a little thing, and then you put it on
Yeah.
so then you
my
know
Lord,
which
people.
meals
And
go to that. Yes.
So even obsessing where 6 people are going to sit.
Yes, because that is important.
I'm doing a brunch tomorrow to watch.
Are
the
we invited?
final- No, I didn't get invited to
then
dinner.
fair's fair, right? Celeste?
Well, tell me that you wanted to be
Exactly.
invited. I'm doing a brunch so we can watch the finale of Melody Festival and for Sweden to pick their song for Eurovision. I'm assuming you're not feeling bad. You didn't get invited.
Thank you for not inviting me to that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
really
makes it
trying to
easier.
figure out what I'm obsessed with.
Well, you better hurry. We've
I
only
don't
got a few
anything,
minutes left.
But
So I've given up on brunch, and now I'm doing.
Wait, you were having a brunch and now you're not?
Now I'm doing Swedish meatballs over buttered noodles.
very IKEA.
It's very
of you.
Swedish, you know. We'll
Isn't
have
that
some
like
peas.
these Stofers?
Yeah,
You
it
could
could
get
be.
those on Stofers.
No, I'm not doing it that way. But I did send a shopping list to Walt to go out and do my grocery shopping from.
Hey, have you seen these new frozen dinners? They're called Kevin's.
Yes.
They're delicious.
They're
Kevin
delicious.
has his own line of frozen
And
dinners.
now
Love
they're not my Kevins. I wish they were, but whoever this Kevin is, they're
It's
really
great.
good. And you can get them at Costco, but they serve like 6, so you got to get a really big one. But we saw them at Costco the other day.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
They're really good.
Yes, I second
Well,
that.
okay, then let me ask this: what makes them really good? Why do you think they are?
Because they're delicious and they're easy. You basically you can microwave some of it, and you can do some of it over the stove, and it's usually a sauce with
And it's-
some kind of noodles or chicken or whatever. But it's like
And it's
Thai
kind of-
coconut chicken, delicious.
Yes, and it's kind of has like a health. It's not super high in sodium. They're healthy.
Oh, right, it is healthy.
They're organic. But yes.
Kevin's Natural Foods for clean eating. They have
Yes.
clean ingredients and real flavor. They're keto and paleo certified.
And they're kind of expensive. Like if you buy them at Randall's or Kroger, they're like $10.
dairy, gluten, and
they'll serve
soy free.
maybe 3. But if you go to Costco, you can get service for 6 for like $12. It's pretty
Is that
good.
what you're serving at your dinner? You said service.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
6.
We're obsessing over which Kevin's we're going to serve. No, I'm kidding. He's making all his. He's doing
Kevin's
this.
a great cook.
He is a good cook. And Giada, the Giada chef, he's doing one of her dishes. And so it's a lot to do. He has a lot of chopping ahead of him.
Okay, enough of ours. What are our friends saying?
We've been getting quite a few YouTube comments. Let's start with the Ale or File. Says, I have been binging on the award nominees for short films, both live and animated. That's my current obsession. My British Computer Guy's current obsession also has been watching Upload. 3 full seasons out so far, a fourth currently airing. And Antis says, my obsession is making sourdough bread. Not just sourdough bread, good sourdough bread. It's not easy. It is not. I can second that. I'm also making tons of homemade pizza. I'm truly obsessed with it. It's driving my wife crazy. Yeah, a lot cooking obsession.
I love making pizza at home. I do all different styles, so I want to know more about your pizza making skills.
Yes,
you
thanks for
mentioned
sharing
the Oscar nominees. The Oscars are next Sunday, not this Sunday night, but the following Sunday night.
I didn't say they were this Sunday.
No, I'm just saying for people who we said that this person's obsessed with watching the shorts, the nominated shorts.
Oh.
The Oscars are.
Who's the host? Do you know?
Conan O'Brien returns for his 2nd consecutive year.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I like the Oscars, but I've seen none of the movies. I've seen-
We also know that we usually around this time give our last minute plans. So for those who don't have any plans and are looking to do something in our fabulous city, the Pinch Inn at Hermann Park. This is a free event. Houstonians can show the city's beloved green spaces a little love with a volunteer cleanup effort for all ages to participate. No experience is necessary. Just bring comfy clothes, closed-toe shoes, and a willingness to help. That's going to be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I know parents who are always looking looking to do stuff, volunteer things with their kids. So this would be a great one.
So just go and pick up trash?
Yeah, clean
nice.
up the park.
Yeah.
Also on Sunday, the Bayou Blues Festival at Houston Botanic Garden is happening. This is going to be an afternoon of soulful roots music curated by Houston's own Annika Chambers. And it's going to be a great lineup. Cam Franklin.
I know Cam Franklin.
Cam Franklin.
We love Cam.
She's great.
She's been on the show, right? Also, Rosie Ledette is going to be performing. So, in addition to live music, attendees can snap photos in front of the Houston Gardens Bluebonnet Field. Bluebonnets are out already. They can enjoy the family fun zone with Bluebonnet-themed crafts, games, face painting, and much more.
Where do you look for bluebonnets?
I like to go out kind of... I would say maybe is it west, kind of Chapel Hill area?
Chapel Hill's perfect. They have the Bluebonnet Festival every year.
Festival.
Usually the second weekend in April.
Yeah.
And since the first weekend in April is Easter Sunday, I bet it's going to be the second.
I love that part of our area.
Yeah, Chapel Hill. And then really all the way to Austin, you can see bluebonnets.
All the way to Austin.
Absolutely gorgeous.
We did get from a caller, tell Frank that his husband should buy a Ninja food processor. It'll save time on chopping and cutting.
Oh, my God.
Kelly, you don't think we have 3 different versions of that?
College Station. Thanks for tuning
I love
in,
my
Kelly.
Ninja products. I got them all.
We've got lots of those. I'm just saying, you still got to put the food in there, and you got to chop some of it.
You got to get a ninja to come to your house and do the cooking for you. I do also want to send out thoughts and prayers to one of our regulars over on YouTube, my British computer guy. His father-in-law is undergoing heart surgery, and so we wish him the best, and we wish you the best too, my British computer guy, and Mrs. British computer guy.
We know it. We've met them both. Yeah.
You know, what's happening all weekend long is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo at Energy Park.
Is that going on?
Hadn't heard about
that
it.
little thing.
We should go out and broadcast from there.
March 11th, we'll be there. Hey, Frank, what is the weekend weather going to look like?
You know, it's a little damp tomorrow and Sunday.
Okay.
So we keep an eye to the sky, stay weather aware. There's some chance of a strong thunderstorm or two coming through. I don't think we're looking at a lot of flood issues, but you know this town, especially spring storms, they can just really do it to you. So be careful.
Yeah.
Jumping back and forth here, Resin 8 says that he's obsessed with coins. Been collecting them for years now. I was never a coin collector.
I did that as a young kid. Never.
Did you?
I didn't have a lot, but I had enough for my mother to take them and buy a carton of cigarettes. Yeah.
Oh, my God. You were an abused child.
You know, my mother was a saint, but she did smoke until she got bladder cancer. And the doctor said, if you didn't smoke, you wouldn't have bladder cancer. She quit that day after smoking for 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But she did smoke, and she was a Winston girl. Oh. And one day she needed her carton of cigarettes, and she took my toy coin collection, and she bought cigarettes.
Do you remember they used to have those? And I don't know why the blue.
I had those
blue books, and you had the pennies from every
dimes,
state
nickels,
and stuff,
quarters,
and you had to pop them in there.
I had it all.
I did that, but I wasn't like thoughtfully collecting. But Resin is into it and is finding stuff online and streaming this stuff and seeing what people are.
Well, Resin, stay away from smokers. That's my advice.
Yeah,
they'll grab
take
your
your money.
Especially now, a pack of cigarettes is like $10.
Yeah,
I mean, really, I who can afford to smoke?
Yeah, and if you're overseas too, then they're really high priced.
Are they really?
Too. Yeah, they're much higher than they are in our country.
In euros,
I'm sure we subsidize smokers.
We probably do. And they even have sin taxes on cigarettes.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop people. Anyway, if you're trying to quit, good luck.
Yes. Also, Frankenstein at Art Factory. This is a world premiere that brings Mary Shelley's classic to life, pun intended, in a bold new way, reimagining the story as a rock-charged production following Victor Frankenstein's we're talking current obsessive quest to conquer death. The production is set on a bare stage inside a gritty punk rock club. And that's something if you're looking to do something inside.
A much more important show you should go and see. I'm sold on it simply by the name. The Importance of Being Earnest.
It's a clever show.
Yeah,
Oscar
it's over
Wilde,
at the Alley
It sort of
Theater.
made Oscar Wilde a household name back then.
Yeah. But that a classic. If you've never seen it, here's your chance to go and see that. So that's going on too at the Alley. We do have a great theater scene in this town, and we often talk about the marquee theaters downtown and stuff. But in communities all across this area, there are many great theaters. Check them out.
We have some fabulous local theaters that are,
We have great actors and actresses.
We have a lot of talent.
Or is
in
it
this
just
city.
actors now?
They're actors.
I mean, do they say actress anymore? Or is
they
that
can
say
work
actress?
a lot here.
I like the word actress, but apparently we don't use that.
Actor. It's
everyone's an
the
actor.
skill of acting.
You're a male actor or a female actor.
Yes.
Or an actor in a female role, even if you're a male. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And guess what, guys?
Don't
No,
say it.
Don't say. Are we done?
We've run out of time.
No.
That brings us to the end of our week.
Did we go forward an hour?
Here at
I got to go home and
Houston.
make Swedish meatballs. That's what I
I'll
gotta
tell you
do.
about the party on Monday.
We want to thank you for watching and listening. We are back on Monday with more conversations. We'll also discuss how the war with Iran is impacting oil prices and the stock market. In the meantime, you can catch the best of Hello Houston Saturdays at 1 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. right here on News 88.7. Be safe, Houston, and have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro, introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare system replaces the Metro